Holy cow. I'm such a mess. My goodness. It's a wonder I can get my stuff together like 6 days out of 7, 9 days out of 10. I really don't know if this is going to stay up. It's a little dubious at this point. All right, Vince. Let's see what we can do here. Hello, hello. Oh, sorry. 1 second, guys. Hey, guys. 1 second, 1 second, 1 second. All right, Vince. Let's see. Can't bring Vince on camera. Okay, what's going on? Do we have... Oh, of course this is going to happen to me. All right, Vince. Can you check your settings to see if they're public? Let's start diagnosing the problems. Are your settings set to public? If you could set them to public for one night, because if your privacy settings are too high, it won't allow us to add you. Gotta make sure you're on Wi-Fi. You have to be on your phone. You can't use your laptop or your iPad or anything like that. It has to be phone, because the app is only compliant with the phone. So if you could check on that to see if... Okay, guys. Of course, we're going to do the dance one more time. I'm sure, like, people, do you guys even log in until, like, 5 minutes in when I've, like, solved all the going live problems? Because it's, like, it's comedy at this point. Okay, Vince. Approve. Da-da-da. I need some theme music. Theme music. Drum roll. Is it going to work? Is it going to work? Who knows? I think we should pray, y'all. Guest declined. Well, let's try you one more time. Maybe you'll try it one more time. Add Vincent Vargas to the live stream. I shouldn't shake around too much, so I've like, my shotgun's gonna fall again. So it should be popping up.
Holy stuff.
Woo!
All right, so I need to get a different headset here because I thought I was going to do it on my computer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Don't worry about it. Can you hear me okay or not?
I can hear you fine.
You okay with this?
Yeah, no, it's fine. There's like, I think for the audience, there's like a quarter of a second delay, but it worked fine last night for Drew. Rudy always does it on speaker, so we're gravy.
Okay, because I know I have a headset somewhere. I'm staying at this is my sister's house. I'm staying at while I'm in Los Angeles, California, filming out here.
So, are you filming? Hi, Vince. Thank you for coming on my show.
For sure.
Welcome.
Hold on, we're gonna. Mama! Mom, I need another headset. The one that fits on this new phones. Do you have one?
Meatloaf.
Do you have one? iPhone's 8. You have a headset?
Gotta be a lightning cable.
No, I'm bought for about an hour. All right.
So it's gotta be a lightning cable.
My nephew just gave me a cable.
All right. Give you the dongle too? Or is it the actual lightning cable?
It's the actual one, but apparently he doesn't keep good care of it because it's tangled in this nice little knot.
Of course it is.
All right. I'm almost ready.
Oh, yeah, we're gravy. So, yeah, it's always such a funny thing because, the kids' schedule, and our youngest one is on the spectrum. So we never know, like, what everybody's going to need. And after school today, I had to take them to get some vaccinations. Yes, I'm a vaccinating parent. Hi, everyone.
I am too.
So we had a stacked up afternoon. Tactical mom.
There you go. Damn headphones. Whoa.
Got your tripod.
Big dumb fingers. I don't have a tripod. I don't have anything, honestly. I'm here visiting, so I don't have stuff.
You don't have all your stuff. We got to get your big chin in the frame when you get those all untangled and it's all sorted out over there.
All right, we're ready.
Oh, we're gravy now. Sweet. Hi, Vince.
Hello.
It's great to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So, you're out here working. Working on what?
I'm out here in California currently working on, I'm going to shut this down right here. I'm working on the ManBeard MC.
So, From what I can gather, do you guys already have one season in the can?
No, we are filming it right now.
So you'd already been doing some filming for that like last year, hadn't you?
Yeah, I can't speak much on it, but what I can say is
Just schedule
what
wise.
I can say. What happened? We filmed the pilot,
Mm-hmm.
and we had to reshoot the pilot,
Oh,
and essentially just like you would in any kind of if you're ever. I've tried this in several times trying to get TV shows. You send the pilot looks good, they approve it, boom, you get the funding for the rest of it. So,
got it. Yes. Okay. So that makes sense now. Because I thought it seemed like it was a long time to be filming just a pilot. So I was
yeah,
like, oh, maybe we got some.
we're going on close to a year and a half since I started even trying to do this.
Yeah. It's never a smooth process in La
No,
La Land.
yeah, it's been crazy.
So you're filming the full season. Can we know how many episodes they approved?
Yeah, I mean that's online. Anything that's already online, I mean, it's 10 episodes approved.
So 10 episodes approved, which is pretty
Mm-hmm.
standard season for FX, especially Kurt Sutter. That's pretty awesome. How did you get that? How'd you book that job?
Relationships made, man. Really, I was in California by coincidence because it was like spring break. All the kids were gone to other other parents, and so I was here filming Dads in Parks. Actually, you've probably seen it before.
Yeah,
Some
I
of the
love Jamie Keller. He's so funny.
he's amazing. And then I talked to Steve Howie. He was a friend. He's became a friend of ours through our videos and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I mentioned it a while back, like, hey man, the Minds thing. How is that possible? You know what I mean? Like, what do I need to do? He said, if you're in California, sometime hit me up and we'll try and get you an audition. Mm-hmm. So I hit him up, and he sent all my information over to the casting, and the casting was interested in seeing me. And so by chance, man, it was like they were short timing on needing to find someone that fit what they were looking for. And then here comes BigPapi walking in, looking the way I do.
Uh-huh.
And it just fit what they needed, right? It was just timing.
Super typecast, you big, beautiful bastard.
I got lucky.
So, Rocco. What I mean, is Rocco your middle name? Is it a nickname? Where?
That's a nickname.
It's a nickname.
It came from, JT kind of started that a while back. So
the etymology.
It really came from me being very maternal, if you will, or dad. Like I always look after the flock, right? I always make sure everyone's safe in my herd of friends. And Matt came home from work, and we decided to do a big old get together, and a bunch of fans came out and hung out with Matt, and it was about 20 or 30 of us, and we decided to go from bar to bar to bar in El Paso downtown. And I just kept making sure he's not drinking too much, making sure he's drinking water, making sure no one's fucking with him too much, making sure JT's safe. And then we just go from one bar to the next, kind of corralling everyone who heading out. And he was like, JT the next day was like, man, you were like a fucking bouncer. You were like Rocco the bouncer. And then boom. And it stuck. So
it stuck. How funny is that? What a great story.
Yeah, and you know what's really crazy? My mom was like, Vinny, why do they call you that? And I was like, and I tried to explain her story. She goes, do you know your great-great-grandfather's name is Rock? And I was like, I did not know that. So I found that out recently, which is kind of cool.
How amazing. And your favorite actor, Rock?
The Rock, actually. Yeah.
Who does not love that guy? Do you want to keep him in the show with us?
No,
he's good. Keep him in the bottom of the frame.
I just like when he's looking at me. I keep him right there.
Yeah, he keeps you company. He's admiring you. He's admiring you from afar.
He appreciates my work.
He's going to. At some point, I feel like if you keep at it, it's going to crack. And he's going to be like, I got to meet this guy.
It's funny.
I got to know this guy. This guy.
Some of my buddies in like acting are just like, I don't think it's ever going to happen. He says like, I might have burned the bridge because of all the weird stuff. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe.
No. It's funny.
He's got to know it's a joke. It's just funny. And
it's funny. Okay. So one thing I do know about Dwayne Johnson is that he's from this area, and like I think he grew up like 20 minutes from where I live, so it's like neighbors. Nice. And we have senses of humor here. I know people think that California people are so uptight, especially NorCal people, like right here in Silicon Valley. It's not that bad, I assure you. We have senses of humor. And if he ever sees all the jokes and all the everything, didn't he answer you once too?
No, he's blocked me, or his people did. Yeah, something. So
whatever. It's probably promoters or whatever. It's gonna crack.
It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna crack.
I'm worried about it. We're gonna move this over here. I think the lighting is a little bit better.
So, do you have any other big things scheduled in LA while you're there, or is it just focused on Mayans right now? Are you working on booking other jobs?
Yeah, it's kind of always a process, right? Like you're only as good as your next project, you know. Right. And so, I actually just kind of working on 2 different projects right now. I'm trying to. There's something big that I can't talk about, so I won't. But the other 2 things there's other 2 things that are really cool. I'm working on finishing up a documentary on MMA and CTE in boxers. So CTE is essentially the traumatic brain trauma that happens to NFL players. They did the movie Concussion. Mm-hmm. And so a very similar thing, but I have this small circle of fighters I grew up around. And it's actually kind of seeing a lot of signs in these guys. And so we're working on finishing up this documentary, getting some more interviews, and hopefully getting it all done next year, sometime mid next year, get it out. So that's a kind of a passion project of mine. It's just I'm a huge fight fan. And I would just love to bring a little bit more light to that subject and hopefully to get boxers and MMA fighters to respect their training and respect their body, man, because you want to have longevity with it, you know. And so just because I would love to be someone to leave a mark on the culture of fighting because I love it so much. And then I have another project working on telling some Ranger stories. You know, there's some cool Ranger stories out there about the history of Rangers. Mm-hmm. We have kind of been our own enemy on the fact that we pride ourselves on being quiet professionals. Mm-hmm. And so in doing that, you kind of lose the history of the Rangers because we don't write our books, we don't do our movies. Yes. And then so I think I want to do it in a way to still respect my culture, my people in Ranger Battalion, but at the same time, I would love to tell the story, especially some of the guys that deserve their story to be told. Yeah. Okay. So I would love to speak to that for just briefly. So I am a book editor, as you know. I mean, I think I've told you that. And it's kind of in the community at this point. And my work is discounted for combat veterans because for that exact reason that you just described, I appreciate that y'all are quiet professionals. There's a humility that comes and accompanies the job, and they live together. And they can't be separated from the other. And if they are, then there's a shame associated with that. And I appreciate that. I get it. Yeah. I think most people do. However, we're living history, and we are living the longest war fought by Americans, like in history of the world. 2 of my children have never been alive when we were not engaged in the global war on terror. Oh, yeah. So these stories by these great men who have done great things and given blood, sweat, tears, lives, family, limbs, these stories have got to be told. They're owed to the world. It's almost as if I feel like they're not even fully your property at this point, because they need to be told to give dignity and respect to everyone that sacrificed all of those things. I agree. It has to be shared. This history that my children are living through, their kids are going to want to know about it. It can't just be a conversation, this thing that we talked about one time. It has to be told with dignity and honor and properly. Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, they've done the best version of marketing that you could ever think of is what the Navy SEALs have done, and which is good and good for them. It's I don't take anything away from what they've done. Right. But us as Army Rangers who kind of live by a code tend to try. We are almost a victim of our own culture, humility. And my own son talks about being a Navy SEAL, and I'm like, he probably still doesn't know that I was an Army Ranger because it's not something I talk about often. And so it's one of those things where I personally have to probably bring a little bit more of that out in my family, because it's something I've just kind of kept to myself, not so much out there. Yeah. It's something that a lot of us Rangers should be. We're definitely proud of it, but it's part of like who we are, I guess, or what we've been taught to do. And so I would love to be the buffer between Hollywood and my culture as a ranger, and somehow find a medium where everyone is comfortable and start telling the story. I would love to tell the story.
Well, it's so difficult. I don't think you all have to be so quiet about being proud of it. Like, I don't think you have to be proud of it so quietly anymore. Like,
Right.
just a little bit, just enough that it gives the dignity and the respect, and it's told. Because that the two death juxtaposition, the when you actually die and the last time your name is spoken is the stories can't die. These are things that happened. It's the truths, and this rich, tangible history. It's owed to be told.
Yep.
And it's not braggadocio. It's not pride. It's not a false equivalency of, subtle humility, but we're still going to be bragging about. It's none of that. It's none of those things. It's history. History needs to be told. It is what it is. It's just a simple, immutable fact.
Right.
So I'm on that bus. All right, so let's talk about your Ranger brothers a little bit more. I'm going to scan through the comments here. I'm looking down. I'm my own producer, so I'm not looking down. I'm looking at my my iPad so I can scroll comments.
Let's see. I can try and help with some of the questions. I'm going to log on my computer.
Yeah, you guys can pop questions if I catch them. If you really are desperate to have a question answered and I haven't gotten to it, ask it a second time. I'm not ignoring anyone deliberately. Your friend Captain David King says, "Hey you." I think that's what he's saying. How do you know when a Navy SEAL walks into the room? He tells everyone. The hair gel's permeating the air.
Here comes the Navy SEAL jokes.
All right, JR Tapia. Yeah, no, we can give the Navy SEALs a bad time. We
give them shit all the time.
We can. It's allowed. El Paso, Nita Daniel Defense hanging on my flag. Oh, you know what? Daniel Defense a little rich for my blood. We have one blue collar husband that goes to works like a dog, and I am just building my company. So I stayed home and raised our kids for nice. all this time, and in the Silicon Valley that is not an easy thing to do. And I've always like taken my little editing and beta reading jobs like throughout the years, but I didn't have enough time to like make real work out of it. And now that my kids are all older and more independent, need me a little bit less, I'm trying to like squish all the hours that I can in working and building my company and taking more book clients and all that stuff. And the balancing act is not as smooth as I was hoping it would be.
Yeah, I know how that goes. Trust me. I try and do so many different projects at once. Oh, there goes Drew Hernandez. He says he likes me. I like you too, buddy.
Oh, I love Drew. Hi, Drew. And Rocco's here. It's like the gang's all here. And
you got Phil Tudor. That's my old team leaders on here.
Yeah.
From Ranger Battalion. Oh yeah.
And David says he wants to turn back the clock and trade in the time in regiment and go to Buds. That'll be the day. That will be the day. All right. So what I really wanted to jump into, the main topic tonight, was something that I found amongst my friends. I have one or two friends that were in the regiment, and a few friends that were, teams. And I don't have any friends that are PJs. Somebody needs to help me. Oh, no, Will was a PJ.
Will was a PJ.
I apologize, Will. But we're not that close. Anyway, it seems like a common theme among all these men that there has been a poor choice in a partner, a practice marriage, if you will. Sometimes we multiply that by 2 or 3 practice marriages. And I find that there's this toxic partner, this toxic relationship thing that is pervasive in the community, especially like the special ops community. And I don't know. I just have been asking all my friends, like, why do you think that happened to you? Why did you stay in that relationship for so long? How did it come to be you were married and then you had children? How did that come to happen? When did you realize that the relationship was toxic and you couldn't live in that anymore because you were actually dying instead of living? You know,
Yeah.
what do
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
think?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because like, you know, I didn't. It's my situation is just interesting, and like I said, I'll touch on certain things. I won't go into too detailed about certain things because I've just always
Right.
been the type to just keep things right, like, you know what I mean.
Whatever you're
But
comfortable with.
but I know for me, I had a daughter. I already had a daughter. Out of wedlock. We had a baby, and so for me, I wanted
So,
to
how old were you
go ahead.
when you had your daughter?
I was 21 years old.
Were you already in the Army at
No,
that point?
no. I
Okay.
joined the military, and by the time I got out of basic training, she was already one.
Okay.
And so for me, it was just like, throughout basic training, we weren't together, nothing like that. But I wanted to try to do the right thing, right? I now have the money. I now have something that's kind of keeping me structured. I'm not a very structured person. Before this, I was kind of, one of my buddies here is watching, is my baseball friend. They call me Goathead. I was just kind of a wild kid. You know what I mean? I was just a knucklehead. And I knew that the military was going to kind of slow me down and kind of hopefully beat me into submission. And so I decided I wanted to try and start that family. I wanted another shot at trying to be the dad and have the normal life of marriage and kids and do the whole thing. And so, we ended up getting married in airborne school, the very typical military thing. We ran to the church and got married, right?
Yeah. Go into the chapel.
And yeah, I think we both knew it wasn't a very good relationship. We were young. We didn't really understand. I knew what a healthy relationship was. My parents had a very healthy relationship growing up, and so I knew that we had nothing like that. And it was just kind of, for me, at one point, it became necessity. And I also knew I was going overseas soon, and it felt really good to know that there's something to come back home to.
Yeah.
Because and that was a big thing for me personally. Like we're all kind of built differently, but for me, it felt good knowing that there was someone hoping I'd come back. Obviously, my parents did, obviously that.
Interesting.
But for me, it was really, really, there was comfort in knowing that there was someone going to be there the day I return and happy I'm home, and
not just coming back to a cold house or cold barracks and like no warm body.
Right, because then what's the point of coming back? Just stay at war. Just fucking leave me at war because I have nothing else, right?
Well, and you'll be getting paid.
Yeah, and it's kind of easier there, right? I said that before. Like I think war's easy.
Yeah.
You only got to get worried about shot in the face, and that's it. So, and so that was a big thing for me. Was if I wasn't with her, I probably would have found someone to at least communicate with and be there, right? Because for something, it had to be for something.
Some sort of permanency.
Right, there had to be something, some kind of gratitude at the end of my little journey, and there's someone that's going to be like, well, I'm glad you're back. You know what I mean?
Right. That makes sense.
And then after that, we had our second kid, and then, by then you just don't want to, I just believe so much in family. I mean, you see what I am now, the same, I'm the same, I'm just more mature now, right? I know that I found the partner that respects relationship as much as I do, and we're kind of see things at the same level, at that time, it wasn't like that. It was like, I allowed myself to be in an ugly situation for so long, it was slowly killing both of us. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I didn't recognize myself anymore. There was a lot of issues with I mean, anything you can think of in a toxic relationship, it was that times 10. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I personally wasn't going to be the one to break up the family, even though I should have. When I saw the signs and I felt it. And I was highly uncomfortable at times, like, what am I doing? You know what I mean? But it was huge to know that when I'm gone, someone's taking care of those kids, and then when I come back, someone was going to be there with welcoming, open arms. And it was just, that's so big, such a big deal to me that, I mean, I handled so much crap for so long.
Yeah. So do you think that, in your observation of your friends, so you have your own personal experience. You are not the only one in your circle of friends that has had a toxic relationship, marriage. Do you think that because a lot of them didn't have kids, what do you think kept them together? And sometimes it's not even a marriage, it's just living together or whatever. But they still stay together.
It's a funny thing. There's I think there's a lot of guys that had a buddy that got in and right away, met a girl and she was a stripper and got married to her. And we all heard that story a million times in the military.
Yeah.
There's guys that just meet a girl and right away get married again. You know, it's just these things that happen, and it's something to do with the culture of what we do for a living. As we're going, we live hard and we live fast. You're in Ranger Town. You drink heavy, you shoot like a motherfucker, you cuss like a motherfucker, you go to war like a motherfucker, you come back and start that cycle all over again. Yeah. You're living life at 110%, you know, at 110 miles per hour. You know what I'm saying? And that even goes with the lifestyle of your choice in female. You know what I mean? If you weren't married, you were still you were doing your thing on the weekends. And I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that 6 months from now I'm going to war again. You know what I mean? It's almost like enjoy what you have, and there's a little bit of comfort in the craziness, right?
Yeah. So let me ask you this, and you don't have to answer if it's too personal. And again, I'm asking in your observation of your friends, not necessarily your personal experience.
Yeah. No,
but I mean, I know guys talk. I heard Donald Trump on the Access Hollywood recording. I know guys talk. I've overheard them. So do you think that like part of that is like you find this female or this woman, and like you're living at 100 miles an hour in kit, you know, when you're in theater, you come home and alpha males come home and you find someone who has a matching sexual appetite, a matching, you know, kind of life tempo. She's a little bit crazy, but she's a little bit great because she gets like the over exaggerated emotional state that you kind of perpetually live in. And I think like that kind of hyper matching sexual appetite is kind of a big part of it. You know, what do you say to that?
Yeah, I think I can say that I've looked at a lot of buddies and who they brought to the Ranger Ball, and it was like, well, okay, I'm pretty sure every single one of those girls are strippers or crazy ass, you know what I mean, whatever the case.
Yeah.
I think it's funny because you also have the side of someone that it feels like deployments and this crazy lifestyle, it causes people to go a little nuts because you are second to you're second to the platoon. You're second to the squad. You know, the female essentially is just kind of is just left there with whatever's left of you. You know what I'm saying? And so there is this disconnect of emotion. There is this, and it's like, what the fuck? What do I got to do to get your attention again? Do I have to go fucking be with someone else? Do I have to do crazy shit? Do I have to throw something at you when you're playing a video game? Do I have to do all this crazy stuff? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because for some reason, what you used to have focus on, not anymore. Now your focus is your boys. Now your focus is whatever's war, and you become. They essentially do become second place, and I get that, right? I get that we're living a life that's love. That the love is for war, the love is for hanging with the boys, the love is for that, and not so much. You know, there was, and I say this, and like this is me, right? There's a huge disconnect in life. For me, I was more comfortable being at training or being at war. I say this in my speech. I say yes to work and no to family all the time because what was easier for me? It was easier being gone.
Yeah.
It was easier not dealing with the crazy. It was easier me not dealing with the bills. It was easier for me not doing anything other than fucking going and learning how to be a better soldier. It was easy.
So that was like well, I mean, anyone that's been married, you know, for any length of time will tell you it's work keeping a marriage together. Love is a noun and a verb. You know, you choose it every day. And, you know, you have it or you don't. And then you choose to cultivate it. But I think that, okay, you left after you got back from that deployment. David King left right after, before Rick and Dale's last. Oh, so those were your friends, Brem and Barraza, right?
Yeah, and they're talking about exactly that. Like it's almost a selfish lifestyle when you stay in. And if you want to hold the relationship together, you sometimes have to get out. I mean, I've known a lot of good guys that had seemingly really good marriages. They had seemingly really quality relationships, but I think over time and time, years, some women can't handle it, and it becomes, you know, it's a trip. I've seen some really good guys have some really good marriages and completely go 180, and you're like, whoa, didn't expect that shit. You know what I mean? And it happens a lot, and I think it's just the duration of the time, the strength of the relationship. There's countless things I can say. You know what I mean? I'll tell you right now, like in my relationship though, if I'm going out of town, I find ways of getting back home right away. Like what I'm doing now, like I could easily be gone for 4 months straight. And I was like, no, I fly home every weekend. Why? Because I'm still nurturing that relationship. You know what I'm saying? I still want to make sure it's evident that she still comes first, right? The kids come first. And so those things for me are very important to identify. Like my wife knows I'm coming home. My wife knows I'm making, hey, buy a ticket. Well, it's expensive. I don't give a fuck. Because to me, that money, I'll make it. I'm going home. You know, and it's a huge thing to do that. And those are kind of like lessons learned from just trying to, I mean, growing and maturing. You obviously know, like when you choose someone you're going to be with and you choose that's your forever, well, fuck, you still got to make sure it's nurturing that relationship day in and day out.
Yeah. Well, it's so funny because like kind of going back to like choosing those toxic relationships and the fostering of those like while they last.
Yeah.
I find that, you know, the younger guys, they just don't know. They don't have the practical experience. They don't have the life wisdom, if you will. They don't have the enlightenment to know that they don't have to be there in that emotional space in order to have a partner, in order to have a wife and the things that they want. Do you find that the wives that last, the wives that stick, the wives that survive, do you find that they have a lot of matching personal qualities? Like they have a lot of things that are alike about each of them?
It's funny, like my wife now knows military, her father's military, right? So she knows if I have drill, it's not an argument. You know what I mean? She understands me being gone time to time because he's done it her whole life. So who she saw as a father figure who was gone and well respected and in uniform, she sees that in me, and it's a very similar pattern where she'd be like, yeah, I lived this life before. I married this life. It's all good, right? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think when you're younger, some people grow faster than others, right? I think sometimes either the male or the female, one continues to mature, one kind of digresses, and when that happens, you start seeing big rifts in that relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like, I felt like I kept growing. I feel like I'm still growing. I feel like I've been advancing mentally and emotionally more and more every year. And so for me, it was like,
Well, if you're
man,
not, you're doing it wrong.
right. And there's some people that don't. And when they don't, it's like, wow, I almost don't even know you anymore because it's like I've completely changed in how I see things. You know what I mean? I was a dumb kid think I knew everything. Like Cam Elliott, he's one of the guys that just commented right now. You know, he's been married 12 years and active duty 20 years.
Yeah.
It says November still active service 20 years. I know his marriage. They're just good together, right? They just work together. And I'm not sure if maybe they just grew together. It was one of those things. They nurtured their relationship. I'm sure he can be attest to that, but I think when you're younger, I don't think I thought of that kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you don't.
No, I thought my parents had it easy. I thought like, oh, what, 40 years? They fucking, you know what I mean? They just, somehow they figured it out. But hell no, right?
So that's a sticking point from, oh my gosh, my son is running out. I hear my son running across the house right now because we live near Moffett Field Air Base. And when the C-130 flies over the house, he hears it and he always goes running outside to see it fly over. I get excited too, frankly. I'm just not confessing it. So I think that people there's this, you know, this sticky point, and parents, they always think, I don't want to fight in front of my kids. And I think they get when parents don't have any kind of fight, argument, disagreement in front of kids. So the kids see fight, problem, or problem, fight, resolution. As long as you get to that resolution and you don't get ugly about the fighting, I think kids kind of, in my opinion, this is my opinion, kids kind of need to see the fighting because they need to know it's not, the marriage is work. And you have to see a fight with work and resolution. And okay, I don't understand what you're saying. I don't appreciate that you just said that. I don't. What doesn't make sense to me is, and learning how to fight appropriately is a huge part of that because your kids
it's
see
huge.
that.
It's huge. You know what I mean? It's still maintaining the respect for each other, and you know,
and your kids will see you resolve it. More importantly, they see one person say, "I understand," and you might be right, so I'm going to capitulate this and we'll go with what you think.
Yeah, I have my pretty much my second mom. I call her Sue. She was my neighbor for years, and she says you have to work on it no matter what you do. And and this is coming from someone who's been married for many years.
Yeah.
They're an amazing couple, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
they were like mom and dad to me for a long time.
Yep.
And it's funny. The craziest thing to me is like you're saying like I get all the time messages about, hey man, I'm not sure if my marriage is going to last. I don't know if I should do this for the kids. I don't know if I should, you know what I mean? And I get
Yeah.
this all the time because obviously I've been divorced.
Yeah.
I've been divorced twice, right? You know what I'm saying?
Not just once, but
Yeah.
twice. I
Right.
am experienced.
So it's like I understand, and I'm never going to be the guy. I do my best not to say, well then divorce. To me, it's like, look, that's not me. I'm not in your
Right.
position. I can't tell
Right.
you where you are in that relationship and whether it's done or not, right? Because I can't tell you I was 100% sure until I knew I was 100% sure, right? And then I
Right.
was like, all right, boom, done. But I think when people say the kids, I think if the relationship is legitimately toxic, if there's abuse, if there's verbal abuse, if there's physical abuse, if there's drug abuse,
Yeah.
things like that to me are, I mean, if you can't work as a team to get that fixed, and this is just a constant, and it's starting to put an issue towards the kids, well, then the kids need the separation.
Yeah.
The kids need to know what normal and healthy is, because if the kids only see an unhealthy relationship and they continue to see this unhealthy relationship, and then what do you think they're going to look for in another
life.
significant other when they fucking get old? They're going to be like, hey, wait, this isn't love because we're not fighting and you haven't thrown shit at me. And the
Yeah.
only way I can tell you what love is if you grab that fucking lamp and throw it across the fucking room at me.
Yeah.
Like that. And so
And what
that's
they
the thing.
normalize.
Right, exactly. When they start to normalize, like, that's good relationship, like, no, and that's not healthy. And
Nope.
that's when you have to make the decision, like, if it's not healthy for my kids, because here's what I always say it this way: no matter what, my kids are forever.
Right.
There's nothing, like, no matter what happens in life, they're forever. So I always want to do my best to make sure that I'm making the best decision for them, because every decision I make can easily stack upon stack upon stack on affecting them.
Yep.
And that's the biggest thing to me is like, that when you say toxic, I'm talking toxic. I'm not talking you're arguing about which fucking movie you want, or she won't ever make a fucking decision what she wants to eat at night. No, yeah. I'm talking like toxic because there's some really serious shit going on, some serious verbal, physical, and drug abuse type thing.
Yeah. When we say toxic, we are saying we abuse each other verbally. Right. When we say toxic, we say we're instant to anger about small, stupid things. When we say toxic, we mean we are gaslighting our partner. When we say toxic, we mean that there is disloyalty, there's lying, there's deception, there's ugliness that you normally would only see in a soap opera or a movie. And when you see it, my friends, when they are talking, about it, I always ask, okay, so if you were not in this relationship, if you were standing outside this relationship and you were advising yourself as a friend, what would you say? Because you now know everything that's happening inside that bubble of that relationship.
Right.
Would you tell you to go? Would you tell you it's time to part ways? Because children, I assure you, will assume the mantle of the bearer of that weight if you're staying together for them. Mm-hmm. And most family experts, and I mean traditional family experts. I don't mean like your current modern day, super lefty liberal. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the traditional, family advisors that counsel families and whatnot will tell you that in the marriage partnership, you've got to take care of each other first.
Right.
Because it's like steering a ship, flying an airplane, driving a car, and putting the oxygen mask on first. If you're not taking care of each other, you cannot take care of children. And if you can't take care of each other, it's time to be apart and separately take care of children.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy how things were and things are now. I mean, it's not common to see someone have a 15, 20-year marriage anymore, right? It's not as common as it was when, our parents were younger. Now, And, there's so many things to could attest to that, man. But it's just one of those things. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think that a lot of people have there's a common misconception that good marriages. So John and I just celebrated number 20 last month.
Badass.
And people, this misconception that good marriages or long-lasting marriages have some sort of perfection, and it's not the case. It's absolutely not the case. There are bumps, there are mountains, there are fires, there are all things, all manner of problem, all manner of fight. And when John and I fight, like, we don't fight a lot. I would say we really just don't. I mean, because John's notoriously, his family, bad communicators. The men in this family are the worst communicators. So I knew going in that I was going to have to be a degree of a mind reader, but I'm a pretty good communicator. So I can normally sense what's going on and eke out how he's feeling. It's those gaps that I'm unable to bridge. Yeah. And generally speaking, those ones go nuclear.
Well, that's just funny because me and my wife, we have like different ways of communicating. You know what I'm saying? I think I speak more literal when I say something, right? When I say, "Hey, I need to do this," it's very literal. Or, "Hey, I'm feeling like this." I think my wife doesn't always. I don't know. It's like I miss the communication sometimes, and I'm like, "Dude, what's that about?" She goes, "Whoa, what are you talking about? That's not what I meant." I'm like, "Well, it's felt like that, right?" And so it's just, and then knowing now that she never throws these triggers at me. It's from past relationships that I'm used to the jabbing, right? I'm used to these stabs in the side. They're like, "Oh yeah, hey, maybe you should eat that because you're chunky as fuck." And you're like, "Whoa, that sucks," right? My wife right. Wow. So my wife would never throw something at me, but I think because I've been so accustomed to something for so long, I still haven't fully, I guess, let go of that there's an insecurity there. And so when she says something like, "Hey, you want a water?" And it's like, "Oh, what are you saying? I can't have a soda?" And so I flip it, right? And so, right. And so she knows that. Son. Yeah, and she always says, that
you took a long run. Thought you might be dehydrated.
Well, that's how it is, because she's always like, "What did that? Where are you going with that?" I was like, "I don't know. My bad." You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's just years of the insecurities that's been instilled in me for years, right? That it shouldn't be there, but they are, and so that's where she had to learn certain things. Obviously, I still, I twist the communication wrong. It happens, and sometimes, like with Jay, and I can only make reference to my own marriage, but sometimes I have to ask. I'm like, "Wait, was that a drive-by? Were you flinging an insult?" I ask outright. I'm like, "Were you just flinging an insult? Because I kind of took it as a joke, but I don't want to insult you." You're like, "You talking shit?" And I'll just ask. And then sometimes he kind of gets his hackles up, and I'm like, "Did you just misunderstand me?" And I'm always the one asking the question. I'm like, "Did you just misunderstand me? Because your hackles should not be up. You should be laughing. So you either didn't hear what I said, or you've taken it completely wrong." No, well, we dog each other so often, right? We make fun of each other so often in such a funny way, like. And so it's like, I know what is a joke, and then sometimes I'm like, "Wait, that wasn't a joke, was it?" So, and it's all, and it's like, oh man. But that's part of, we've talked about it, like when we got together, it was just like, I don't give a fuck what happens. Like, we're forever. Yeah. So. And so, go ahead. Go ahead. No, go ahead. Good. So but I think that people miss that. There's nothing wrong with saying, "Oh wait, what?" Flinging an insult and asking for clarification. There's nothing wrong. Okay, so ladies, men are fixers. If he comes home or you come home, and at the end of the day, you dump everything on them. "Oh, this person did this person did that, this person did this," and you don't get annoyed. You do get annoyed, but you're not supposed to when they start suggesting and giving you advice about how to solve all those problems. Biologically, we just want to vent. We just want to get it out of here and out. Men are solvers. You're doers. So what you hear is, "Oh, she needs help. She needs advice. She doesn't know how to solve this problem. That's why she's telling me about it. So I'm going to give you lots of good advice. And I'm going to tell you how to solve that problem." Because that's how you're programmed. So, ladies, if you don't want advice from your man about the day that you just downloaded, tell him, "Okay,
I really need to tell you all about this. And I don't want you to tell me what to do about it because I've already got it kind of worked out. But I really, really, really need to tell you about it. But don't tell me what to do about it.
That's
Say
how I am with my
it.
dad. That's how I am with my dad. Like,
Say
I like
it.
to just talk to my dad. I like to just talk to my dad because my dad's cool to talk to. But he always tries to give me the answers, and I'm like, yeah, Dad, I'm not gonna listen because I haven't listened my whole life because I'm just a hard-headed kid. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's like my dad always gives me the answer, like, son, what I think you should. I'm like, all right, Dad, I appreciate it,
I
but
got you.
I'm not gonna listen to that
Yeah.
again.
Well, I mean, it's different for a parent. Like your parents,
Right.
they get that pass, especially when we're
Yeah,
our age. Your parents get the
yeah,
pass. Like my father tells me what to do. I say, yes, Daddy. Yes, Daddy. Yes, Daddy. And it just is what it is. My mother tells me what to do. Yes, Mother. And it just, that's how it works. But,
yeah,
and I think another common error in relationships, and this is one that I probably will get flack about, but it is my observation, and I've read a lot about it too. Um, People say, "What's the number one problem with relationships? Falling apart, having problems." What's
yeah.
your guess? What's your guess? What do most people say?
Sex.
Sex. Okay, that's actually a good one. Communication. People always say
Right. People
communication.
say communication. Right. Right.
People say communication, but it's actually, if you break it down, it's unmet expectations, and sex is part of that. Sex is part of that.
I think that's
Money is
true.
part of that. Communication is part of that. Because if you put all of those expectations, because in some capacity, when we are moved to anger or moved to sadness or moved to rage about something that our partner has done, they have failed to meet some sort of expectation.
You failed to meet the standard. Get back in line.
Oh,
That's so funny. Because you know what's funny? Movies like The fucking Notebook fuck it up for all of us. We're like, what? Why can't you fucking die for me? And it's like fucking all
yeah.
those Nicholas Sparks movies like make everyone like
No.
girls grow up like, look, man, where's my Prince Charming? Like, here he is, motherfucker. He looks like a toad.
You know what? You know that's just a movie, right? But if a bad guy breaks in the house in the night, I'm going to shoot that motherfucker in the face.
Oh, God,
It's
it's so
going
funny.
down. Yeah, no, and actually that's another inherent problem I have with women dating today and all their bitching and complaining. I just want to like line them all up and go, and smack them all in the face. Because this whole stupid, idiotic notion that there are no good men around, that they have cycled through all of the 4 good ones remaining. There are lots.
That's kind of, it's funny. That's like, it's these the kids grow like my daughters won't think like that, right? My daughters are so different because they're raised by me, who has a different approach. Right. I don't lie to them. I don't, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I want my daughters to be super independent and not depend on a dude to do anything for them, right? You know what I mean?
They can save their own day.
Right, and they're also they're gonna be like, you know what, that guy doesn't have the traits of what my dad had. You know what I mean? That guy's not a tough dude, and that guy wears skinny jeans, and that's a little weird, right?
Yeah. No.
But
go
things
back
like
to
that,
your soy lattes and your skinny jeans and keep moving, bro.
She can, my daughters can probably pin half the dudes in their high school right now. You know what I'm saying?
So it's
like, so I just feel like it's this. I don't ever blame the kids anymore. I don't. I blame the parents.
Oh, for sure.
There's a reason why they're thinking like that.
For sure.
There's a reason why these 16-year-olds think they need to be Kim Kardashian, right? The parents didn't freaking tell them, like, hey, that's bullshit, right? Like, someone needs to freaking check them, right? Someone needs to, you know what I mean?
So the evolution of all of that is as follows. We have feminized our sons. We have told them that being masculine and machismo is toxic. So I say we collectively, not me.
And let me say one thing with that. But for some reason, people think when you're masculine, you can't have emotion.
Right.
That's incorrect, right?
Right.
But for some reason, society identifies it as you need to feminize them.
We have told them that they can only have a certain set of emotions. They can't even have the full spectrum of them. You have to be hyper emasculated. You have to be super emotional. You have to be all of these things. So we have basically told our boys, not me, not you, told our boys, don't act like men. It's threatening and toxic. No, which is so wrong because it's against all of their biological programming. All their biological programming is telling them other things. And then girls have been told,
You don't need a man. You don't need this. You don't need that guy. You know, and you better act like a man if you want to have man things in this world and you want to get to the top and you want to do that. You have to act like a man. Okay, so some of these guys that are left over in the soy boy pool are desperate enough and that they will take these women that are acting manly, acting men, like men. And the women in their biological thinking, this is all deep back in the thinking. This is what, you know, God created us back when you had clubs and you would drag me by my hair to the cave. And the women are looking for a man who acts like a man, who can protect her family, who can provide food, who can hunt and kill an animal to feed her children, who has enough testosterone and a large enough frame to produce the best young. That's what's going on in her deep thinking. And then it gets convoluted and fucked up on the way out, and she's looking for a bad boy. So then it comes out, I'm looking for a bad boy. The shitbag that sort of is tough but has no job, but he's got tattoos, so that'll kind of do. He's not wearing skinny jeans, you know? And everyone is so coked up with crazy.
I can't say I agree or disagree because I'm just trying to protect myself right now on this whole conversation.
No, we'll let you sign the NDA that you do not necessarily agree with the host of this show.
These are not
my opinions. Yeah, no, those are Kendra's opinions. BT Dubs sent all your hate mail to me.
It's one of those things where as a parent, you do your best to try and raise the best people because you know they're going to grow up and make their own decisions anyways. I made my own decisions, but if you have a good foundation, it just seems like that foundation is kind of lost these days. You know, I think parents aren't parenting. I think they're using iPads and iPhones as babysitters. I think you don't see very many families sit down and have dinner together anymore. Mm-hmm. The fathers have locked down into the idea of to be a paycheck rather than being relevant in their kids' life. And so how many people you see out there actually playing catch with their sons anymore? That was a daily thing when I was younger. You know what I'm saying? And so, and I'm sure your husband does it. I'm sure, but I'm saying, I'm saying most of society is going away from these things that I think are very important in building that kid's foundation, right? For them to identify. I mean, and then like here's the other thing is like I'm just super honest. Like I don't have to raise my kids with these blinders. Like, look, there's no such thing as sex. Look, there's no such. You know what I mean?
It's better if you just talk to them about it.
Here's the reality of it. Have manners, right? Just have manners because why the fuck not? Right? You just need to have manners, plain and simple. Yep. And after that, it's like you can be anything you freaking put your mind to, right? I'm gonna help you in that. I'm just gonna help you do that, but at the same time, it doesn't come easy. You're going to lose a lot in life, and that's fine. Lose as much as you freaking can, as early as you can, and you need to build resiliency because life is fucking hard.
Yeah, it's rough.
But these things... wear a helmet. Wear eye protection, put a PT belt on. But all these things is like, for some reason, we're losing the root of just raising a good person, right? You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely.
And there's no mentorship in parenting, and there should be. Like, I'm not my kids' friends. Like, my kids, none of my friends are my friends. Fuck no, I'm not their friends. I'm their dad.
Exactly.
Now, we have a lot of fun together too, but I'm still dad. At no point do they lose that idea of I still have the authority in the household. You know?
Exactly. You couldn't be more right about that. And I think that parents, they conflate the two. Like, oh, I'm my kid's friend. Well, no, you're not. You're the parent. Be the parent. Yeah. Lead them. Teach them. Bestow the wisdom of the world upon them. And they will carry on. But nope, it's iPad, it's TV, it's this, it's that. I don't want them not to like me. Well, tough shit. That's parenting. You signed up for it.
Yeah, that's the funny thing. Like Sean Baker said that. Sean Baker, excuse me. He said, "There's no perfect parenting yet. There isn't.
No,
there isn't. That's the thing. Is like I don't have no fucking name. There's times where I've disciplined my kids, or I've taken away their phone, or I've said that they've been grounded, and I feel bad about it because you're like, was that right?
Did I overreact?
Yeah. Like, am I doing it right? Like, I don't know. Shit. I just hope I am. Right? You know what I mean? But that's the part. Like, there's no perfect parenting. We're all learning, but. Damn, there's a few things, fundamentals that you can teach your kids.
There are basic principles of parenting that all of us can follow. Every person, no matter what your political beliefs are, no matter what your ethical standard is, no matter what your religion, nothing is going to deviate from some simple principles of parenting. And that's show up. Show up. They don't need iPads and devices to babysit them. You do it. You know, take care of them. 2, don't be their friend. Teach them. Teach them about the
Yeah,
world.
it's
Teach
you know,
them
it's
about things. Teach them about life. Teach them about sex.
just
You be
imagine.
their teacher.
I think of it so similar to like the military, and I've for some reason I've made this correlation multiple times before, but you know, if your squad leader is your best friend, it's going to be hard to really, hard to really
Yep.
you know what I mean? There's this communication lost now. There's authority lost. There's this breakdown in the chain of command, if you will. And so the leadership structure becomes weaker. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And that's a big thing. Like people don't identify, like even in the military now, the military's changed. Leadership has changed, right? They used to be, a tyrant and it worked. But that doesn't really work anymore. It doesn't work anymore. You still have to lead from the front. You have to lead by example, and you have to essentially earn the respect, which is a weirder time.
Yeah.
But there's still there's still the difference between the rank structure, right? There's still that whole dynamic of knowing who's in charge and who stays in charge. And so I don't know, man. I take the same views on that as I did in the military and doing parenting. And I guess we'll see in freaking 10 to 15 years if it's all right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. My oldest one is 19 and my youngest one is 11. And
Yeah.
there is no magic formula. There is no book.
Right.
There is no right or wrong. But there's righteous, and you
Right.
can kind of follow that guideline. And it's actually pretty basic rules. And people think that parenting is expensive. And really the biggest expense is going to be food and feeding them and clothing them, because they don't need all the extraneous things. They may want them, but they don't need them. All right, let's cruise through some of these comments here.
Yeah.
There are more important things in life than fighting over the little things. Absolutely, Cam. Mayans take out Sons of Anarchy on pilot. Rocco smokes the whole crew.
That is not true.
Hell to the
I can't confirm or deny that.
Didn't half of them die in the finale of SOA anyway? Come on now.
No one's ever safe.
We never know. Kurt Sutter is so creative. You are jealous of the combos. Call you sometime. Logie Mills? You want me to call you, or do you want Rocco to call you?
I don't know. I have no idea who that is.
Robert, you love this conversation. Oh, I think he wants me to call him.
Oh, got it.
Give you the disclaimer. You know the answer, Robert. Oh, dang it. We lost track of where we were. Rocco's weapon of choice while riding with the Mayans, a single shot of 410 and a hatchet.
Sounds cool.
That seems like a lot of work. Smack your ex, please, Brian. Assault and battery charge. If that's going to get dismissed, we might be able to arrange that. Because I will smack the shit out of a bitch. Just kidding. You're going to get anti-skinny jean hate mail, and I am absolutely fine with that. I will just forward it to you, Jeffrey McCombs. No perfect parent, absolutely right. Rate of pay doesn't match the rate to live. There is the on part. I don't really understand what that means, Justin. Wild turkey and single barrel is delicious, just saying. I don't drink wild turkey. I am a Scotch girl. Do you drink Scotch or bourbon?
I drink bourbon, but I have been developing the palate for Scotch for a while.
Oh man.
Really, I have a box of lead slingers in the living room, and so I slowly get through there. But I don't drink as much as I used to. I really toned it down, but when I do, I definitely have a glass, enjoy myself.
Yeah, I still haven't tried that lead slingers yet. I don't know. I think we're supposed to be able to get it here in California, but I haven't tried it yet.
Yeah, it's at Total Wine. Total
Wine. I don't know if we have one of those in the area. I'm gonna have to look into it.
You're in NorCal, right?
Yeah, I'm in Silicon Valley.
I don't even know what that means, but
Palo Alto, San Francisco, San Jose.
I think so. I think there is one out there.
The Bay
Area. Double check. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, howdy, lead slingers, ice cold wild turkey. Well, I do like my Scotch cold, but I like Macallan 18. That's my poison.
My old Ranger squad. There you go. It says he's teaching the kids his 5 principles of patrolling.
They aren't just for Army stuff. What is that? Okay, so tell me that. What are the 5 principles of patrolling? I don't know that.
It's honestly, it's 5 principles of patrolling, military patrolling. It's had nothing to do with kids. It's just
but
funny.
I mean, could they overlap and run parallel? Like scan your sector.
I'll read them right now. Hold on.
Oh, you're like that?
Because I don't have it memorized anymore. It's like, dude, what is it? So we used to use an acronym for that 5.
Oh, Alex, thank you. San Mateo and Fremont has lead slingers. Awesome. I will go there because I'm right near Fremont.
So you use these for when developing a plan for patrols. Okay. You use these 5 principles. and it's planning, recon, security, control, and common sense. So,
those could overlap with parenting.
Yeah, no, it definitely can. Planning, recon, security, control. I think it's actually really good. That's actually pretty funny. But I'm trying to think of there's an acronym. Puerto Ricans. Yep, that was it. Never mind. Alex knows what I'm talking about because he's being funny because I am Puerto Rican, and he goes, "You know what Five Principal Patrolling was?" And I was like, "No." And and he says it's Puerto Rican suck cock constantly. I'm like, "Oh, that's not." I don't think that's right. You know, I'm pretty sure that's wrong. You know,
that's terrible.
But like, I'm a private, and he's a, you know.
Yeah, can't be lipping off to the sergeant there.
I know, so I just kept my mouth shut.
Sir. All right.
Man.
Well, I have kept you for about an hour, and I promise
you're good.
I'm good.
Let me. I would like to just close out with something though. You know what I mean? Before we do anything else, for people that with toxic relationships, right?
Yeah,
you know
I wanted to kind of wrap with that. Like, you know, let's give some good advice to our brothers here.
You know, I would say, you know, if, like I said, there's just certain things to me that are toxic where you need to either get counseling for and try and either fix, or, you know, it's just unhealthy to keep doing it to yourself. Because what happens, longevity of a toxic relationship creates insecurities, creates, you know, you can have PTS from this, right? You can have all these things that will affect your future relationships with the way you raise your kids and everything. So this is not just like a relationship thing. This is a personal thing that it's healthy. It's a healthy being, right? You want to be a healthy person. You want to bring the best foot forward for the next relationship. And if you're allowing this to happen for so many years, you don't even know what a good relationship is anymore.
Right.
And so that's my fear, is like, I know there's a lot of military guys out there, but not even just military. I mean, just people, right? People tend to freaking get locked into this relationship and believing it's final. If you're not married, hey man, that's like, bye, I'm out. Once I see something kind of crazy, I'm like, nope, I'm done. You know what I mean? But if you're married, man, and this is something that's a constant thing, you have to identify whether whether the juice is worth the squeeze. Alex Science knows that one. But you know, you got to figure out, is it worth this, right? Is it worth your sanity? Is it worth your self-esteem?
Is it worth you not being a whole person anymore?
Correct. I mean, I lost myself for years, you know what I mean? And I found myself, and I come home right now to visit my mom and dad, and they're like, man, you're just so happy these days. I'm like, I am, because I'm myself. I'm 100% who I'm supposed to be. And I got support, got my back. You know, I got my lady who backs me up every fucking day. And I come up with some crazy ass ideas, and she goes, try it.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Things, so they have to know that, you know, and if you get out of a toxic relationship, I think counseling is just as important for that as well. To get you through that, to not jump right back into another one, because you'll be looking for the drama. And if it's not there, you're going to be bored and be like, this isn't right. This isn't love. Like, no, wrong. What you know is love is false. And so I really believe that, you know, you guys need to look at your relationship. And if you really feel that you're questioning it at all, I go straight to counseling. Yeah.
You've got to make yourself whole again. Yeah. And making yourself whole again can be a million different things. But in order to, people, I think that phrase, you know, relationships are 50-50. They're not. They're 100-100. It takes.
I like it.
All of each person and all of the counterpart or the counterpoint to make it work. Everybody has to give 100% all the time. And that's how we make it work, because we are both all of ourselves fully. Right. And together we make a family, and it's a strong family, and I've got your back, and I'm all of myself all of the time. And in order to be that, we have to offer everything up and respect that the other one is offering everything up. So if you are coming off of one of these toxic relationships, make yourself whole again. You know, consider getting counseling, you know, get counseling to save it, get counseling to get out, get counseling to make yourself whole again before you jump into another one, because having a healthy marriage, you know, you may or may not want marriage, but we're pack animals. We want relationships and contact and that family thing, whatever it is in name. We want the family thing.
Right. Let's see, Vincent, put your pants on. I have my pants on. All right. So
the man, the chin, the legend.
Yeah.
Love you, Rocco. Proud of who you have become and honored to have you as a mate. Vargas is a giant. How tall are you? Are you a tall guy?
No, I'm not. I'm 6'1".
Yeah, I mean, I'm 5'3". I'm not a big person.
Yeah, no, I'm not a giant.
Good chat. Give hugs to your lovely wife and your wonderful kids.
That's Mama right there.
Oh, that's the mama bear. Love you, bro. Good stuff. Drinking bros. Oh, drinking dros? Drinking
Should be
dros.
drinking bros, but he's probably drinking.
Well, I'm not a bro, but maybe I can be an honorary bro tonight.
It's good.
Yeah,
It's good.
no, Kendra, you're not a bro.
No, well, drinking bros. Drinking bros is a Facebook group, obviously.
Yeah, I listen to the podcast sometimes. Yeah. Oh, sometimes I catch it. Sometimes I don't. Rangers lead the way. Absolutely, Jeffrey. Baha. Strike Force. I think we've got everything. Common sense. Puerto Ricans. Boricua. Are you mixed? Are you Puerto Rican?
I'm half Mexican, half Mexican, half Puerto Rican.
Holy Lord, the tempers must have flared in y'all's house.
Nah, it's just my dad's the only one with the temper.
Wow.
Oh, he's a firecracker. He's a firecracker. He's fun.
That's great.
But I'm gonna jump off of here.
Yeah, I was gonna say thank you.
Call the family, do the thing. Yeah, for sure. Thanks for that. Definitely a subject I've never really spoken on publicly, so it's different for me. Hopefully someone got something out of it.
I hope so too. I would love to have you back sometime.
Yeah, for sure.
I will hit you up and we will see how it goes. Good luck with your filming. I hope you have many safe flights, and thank you so much. I deeply, deeply appreciate it and value the insight that you brought tonight. And I know that our audience is going to feel the same way.
Not a problem. Thank you.
Thanks. Good night.
Bye. How you do this?
Click. Just click out. I'm going to log it out anyway. All right.
I can't even figure it out.
Ciao, guys. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I just spent an hour chatting with Vincent Vargas. He was amazing. And you share if you so choose. We have so many great guests lately and so many amazing people who have offered, insight and contribution from like their friends and their history and their relationship. Oh my goodness, you could see all my background here. How embarrassing. So anyway, I just wanted to thank everyone for coming and all your support, all your likes, all your engagement. It means everything to me because all of those comments and everything are so amazing. So thank you guys. Good night.